Gang, let's get going. Today, I want to talk to you about the top 20 concept. It's all about who are the top 20 influencers in your particular niche. And then I have to explain what does it have to do with market testing. And then I have to follow that up and show you how AI makes it so much easier. So let's get cracking. On the channel, I talk a lot about gut punch moments and epiphanies in reading books or watching media. It's been something that has been great to take notice of over my entire career. And it's really meant that if you pay attention to these moments, they really have dramatic impacts. One of those moments was when I was reading a book by Hugh Macleod. Now, Hugh Macleod was a very popular blogger. Remember those kids? Most of you watching this channel don't even remember them. Blogs were the way to get information out, and the blogosphere and being a blogger was the way of being a YouTube influencer or a TikTok influencer back in the good old heady days of 2008, 2010, 2011, and so on. Hugh Macleod published a blog, and he was famous. He was a cartoonist, and he used to draw cartoons on the back of business cards. He would publish them in his blog, and he became really influential and created an entire business off the back of his cartoons and his blog. It was amazing, including a book deal, and that book called Evil Plans. So of course I had to buy that book. I remember very vividly, I was on a plane on the way to London. Probably a lot of it is still valuable today, except it talks about things in the context of blogs. The epiphany moment for me, I think it was about the last chapter, and it was called The Top 20, How to Be Part of the Conversation. And let me read this specific quote for you, because this is the meat, if you will, of what this concept's all about. I would suggest that right this minute, you make a list of the 20 or so people in your space who matter the most. Then ask yourself, who on this list is actually reading your stuff, actually follows what you're up to, actually knows that you exist? If most of the people on the list are checking your stuff out, everybody else will follow eventually. If they're not, then you've got a wee bit of a marketing problem. Bam! Absolutely outstanding. Everything becomes so much easier if you're in the top 20 in your market, whether you're a top 20 golf coach, or it means you're in the top 20 of teaching people how to do fish therapy, or pottery valuation, or any number of things, or, dare I say it, sausage making. All of these are really powerful indicators. And this concept really allowed me to create a whole bunch of rules. Hey, if you're in the top 20, you've got $1 million business, or you've got the capacity to create $1 million business. A lot of people are influencers and they're trying to rub two sticks together because they're giving away free stuff all the time. Another video for another time. Another rule, I apply it every single day. I use it in black belt constantly. And I call it the top 20 test. It's an easy way for me to understand how well you know your market or not. If you're watching this and you are already in a market, I encourage you to take the 3 minutes it takes to do this test. It's very simple. All you do, set a timer for 3 minutes, and then I want you to just write down the top 20 influencers in your market. Who are the top 20? Now, an interesting thing happens when this exercise is done. We learn a couple of things. If you struggle at doing this, and trust me, a lot of very successful business people struggle to do this in their market, we've got a little wee bit of a marketing problem. Because you don't have to be in the top 20, by the way, to be successful in the marketplace. No way. You don't have to be in the top 20. You can be in the top 1,000 and still have a great 1,002 fans business. But if you don't know who the top 20 influencers are in your market, how much are you paying attention to what's going in the market? We need to pay attention. It's really important. So if you couldn't do this test, well, you've got a little bit of work to do. Of course, for a lot of you here, you're just starting out. So it's very unlikely that you know who the top 20 influencers are. And we need to locate them for a really good reason. We're currently in market testing. So I'm not in the top 20, not likely to be in the top 20 for some time, Ed. Why are we talking about the top 20? Very simple. We need to understand what the pains, gains, and jobs to be done are in that marketplace. So we can start thinking about what products or services we're going to provide. The best way to understand that is obviously to follow those influencers in the marketplace. Now, interestingly, AI has made a lot of things easier, and most things have become a lot more complex. Advertising, content production, social media, organic marketing, all of those things have become way more complex compared to, say, 2008, 2009, when Hugh was in his prime. The really interesting part is it's actually harder to follow your market in this day and age. You could actually spend every hour that you have available to you building your business just following what's going along with the sheer volume of content in even tiny markets, like, say, for example, sausage making. So at the end of this, I'm going to give you a technique you can use to make sure you don't spend all of your waking hours following what influencers are doing in your marketplace, because you've got precious little time to build your business. We don't want to use that time following other people. We need to plan it out. For right now, what we need to do is just discover who those influencers are. And the great news is AI has made that extremely easy. I should say, just before we get into this, if you are really struggling to find influencers at all in your marketplace, then that's probably a yellow flag in the market testing. If it's not obvious who the leaders are after you've done what I'm about to show you, a bit of a yellow flag. Now, of course, if the market is super new, that's possibly a reason, but that's also a bit of a yellow flag too. So, we're going to use a different tool today to what we've been using. We've been, of course, focusing on ChatGPT, and Claude.ai has been making an appearance recently and doing very well, particularly because it's free. Today we're going to be using Bard from Google. And the reason we're going to be using Bard from Google, that's B-A-R-D in case my Australian accent is really going weird. Let me just bring it up for you now. The reason we're using Bard is that it has access to a lot of current information, and because Google have programmed it so conservatively, it means that its level of hallucination, that's the fancy word for making stuff up, is a lot lower, which is really very useful for this particular part of our research and testing. Remember, around here, market testing, not market research. We want to take the information that we got from the Persona Forge prompt. There's a link below if you haven't seen the Persona Forge prompt and video about helping you understand what the real people in your market, who they are and what they do, and most importantly, how do they get their information. In the demonstration I did for Persona Forge, sausage making. So let's continue to do sausage making. Of course, one of those channels was, guess what? YouTube. So I literally typed in, what are the most popular YouTube channels for sausage making? Now I'm going to zoom in on this because this is pretty darn cool. Because look at this, the Bearded Butchers, 2.3 million subscribers. Right now they do all sorts of butchering, but they also do a lot of sausage. So that is really interesting. But here's the thing, you can click on the video, it clicks a link so you can go and check this out, and it gives you a subscriber number. Really cool. And then we've got Eckhart, the German butcher. Let me see. Here we are, Glenn and Friends, home cook who loves to make sausages. The Scott Rea Project, butchery and cookery channel. So that's really interesting. So I could say, for example, ask, oh, can you give me 7 more popular YouTube channels that focus on making sausages? So let's do that. So you can see here, give me 7 more YouTube channels that are very popular that focus on sausage making and charcuterie, which I have struggled with, but as we learned in the Persona Forge, very important part of the sausage making experience. And here we are, here's 7 more. The Salumi Marker, Mad Butcher, Homestead Meats, Charcuterie & Co., Meat Church. Love that. The Sausage Maker, 400,000 subscribers. Fantastic. Brilliant. Easy. And we could go and have a look at that. Let's do Instagram. So I've asked here, give me a list of the top 10 Instagram accounts dedicated to the art of sausage making. Homemade sausage, Sausage Fest, yeah boy, we learned about Sausage Fest, which is a great trade. Sausage making with John, Charcuterie Life, Sausage Queen. Oh, she's in Melbourne, actually. She's in my local town, and she has an amazing information marketing business all around the globe. Ute Sausages, Sausage Bros, of course. This is amazing. So this used to take ages, and thanks to Bard, it is so easy. Let's do one more just for yucks. Can you give me the top 10 Twitter accounts dedicated to sausage making and charcuterie? So I've got a list of the top 10 Twitter accounts. Is Twitter relevant anymore? Makes me so sad. Anyway, that's another topic for another time. But here's the point, right? You can find all sorts of accounts to follow. Now, here's the warning. Right now, we have to focus on why we are doing this very specifically. One, we want to make sure that we can find the right influencers. Are there influencers in the market? Big tick, right? Sausage making, stacks of influencers. We want to take note of who the top 10 are in the channels that our persona research with the Persona Forge prompt told us was the case. For example, I didn't ask it for Facebook groups, although I could have easily. In fact, let's do that just for fun. Can you show me the top Facebook groups dedicated to the art of sausage making and charcuterie? Wow, here are the top 5 Facebook groups. And what I love about this is it tells me the size of the groups as well. Look at this, sausage making and charcuterie, 200K, sausage makers, 100K, charcuterie lovers, 50K, homemade sausage, 30K, sausage making made easy, 20K. Like, seriously, brilliant. Here's the thing. Now we've got this information, you can make note of these, and you should make note of the top 5 or 10. Here's the warning. I don't want you to get lost following all these accounts right now. We haven't finally decided, we haven't completed all of our testing in our market testing phase. So this is all very good, and there's lots of sausage influencers, which is great. But please make sure that until you decide to get into the market, please don't spend all your life following everybody on this list right now. It's irrelevant. It's just an important testing point. Save the data. I'll copy all this into Obsidian, which is the app that I use to keep all my research in. And then this will become incredibly useful and continue and decide that we're going to go on with our market test. All right. So that's the video for today. Thank you for joining me. Hey, listen, I cover all of this and do reports and all sorts of other things, a podcast and everything as part of my newsletter. There's a link below which contains all the stuff that we talked about today. Also on that page is a link to my newsletter. And if you like, it's a totally free newsletter. There is a paid portion where I go behind the scenes and publish special reports and do all that sort of stuff for my paid subscribers, the legends. Love you guys. But hey, it's there, and I think you'll find it really useful. As the kids say, don't forget to subscribe, ring that bell, and let me know how your Bard research went with your particular market. Have a good play with it. This is something that Bard absolutely excels at. This used to take hours, like hours and hours of research in the old days. Now, I did that in a few minutes. All right, speak to you soon.